Hello everybody, welcome back to the L1 Link Show. Today's April 29th and we're doing government and social stories to start the week. You may notice that we're missing someone today. How dare he travel without us?
It's important to be transparent about that.
I don't know if, did this shirt go transparent last time I wore it?
There's going to be a little bit.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a cool effect though, because you get
you get a little bit of the story behind it, yeah.
Oh,
someone forgot to mute their phone. I think mine's muted.
And this is going to go crazy today too.
I'm low-key seething with rage today for no real reason, so who knows what my reactions to the stories will be. Nothing on fire?
No. All right. We should probably start over, but listen.
It's a weird week, yeah.
And hopefully the clicker still works. We've been having some problems with it. But yeah, Google, they have gotten some bad news. First, they found out that they might have to sell the ads, and now they might have to sell Chrome. And they really, really don't want to do that, and they really want to convince everybody that would be bad for everybody else.
Google says DOG's proposal for breakup could harm U.S. in global race with China.
So, yeah. I don't know that's true.
I don't know that's true either. Not for Chrome. Yeah.
I mean, I think alternative browsers are pretty easy to get.
Yeah. Is there even a Chinese competitor? I'm sure there is. I just don't know of it. Like, there's so many other American ones. I never even thought to look.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's Chinese browsers for sure. Yeah. So, and also the Asian websites, it's a totally different vibe. Have you seen those? They're very dense.
Yeah. They
look like maybe there's from 2000.
Like 1996. Yeah.
Which I kind of like that, right?
I, as a designer, I don't love super dense layouts because I feel like it's harder for me to read. But if you have the hierarchy right, it's not too bad.
But I'm saying it's just information rather than a bunch of garbage.
I do appreciate that it is all content that's relevant usually.
I mean, that might be a stereotype. I haven't looked at that many websites, but the ones that I've seen that way.
It's not a ton of ads.
And we'll survive without Chrome. I'm confident. And the FTC, we're taking one directly from their website here, and we already knew that Uber was bad, but they've dug up all the details.
FTC takes action against Uber for deceptive billing and cancellation practices. So to cancel your Uber account, I think that said it was 23 screens. 23
screens, 32 clicks.
Whew. That's what we call a dark pattern.
That's the darkest of patterns.
Jeez. I wonder if there's a wait period too. That's the other thing that they'll do sometimes where you say unsubscribe and it's you have to wait 3 days.
And they would renew if your billing happened, they'd charge you again. And they would charge you $9.99. You're supposed to get a free trial period. They would just immediately charge you.
Which let's say if you're, running low on cash, you probably wouldn't do this, but that would still suck if it came out earlier than what you anticipated.
What if you're drunk?
That's a good point. That is kind of their target market as well. So,
unfortunately, most people don't do that. And we all know that we're being spied upon and that most of our devices can be compromised, at least by the things we know about. But we also have to assume that there's stuff we don't know about because we find out about a lot of stuff after the fact. And mostly it's nation states and government agencies who are funding a lot of that stuff, which makes this one a little suspicious.
FBI claims it lost records about its mysterious hacking abilities, including things that it purchased from other nation states.
So they got a FOIA request, and the response was, oh, we went to check on this, and it's not where we thought it was. It was dude, these are digital records, right?
They checked the back room, and it's it's not in the filing cabinet. I don't know where it got moved to. We had that
in a broom closet. So they just didn't give them anything. They're oh, sorry, we can't find it.
And nobody pushed back on that. They're just okay, you're right.
They pointed out some of these cybersecurity feats that the FBI has recently accomplished, taking down, all the ransomware stuff, and how that level of sophistication doesn't quite match the we lost the records level of sophistication. Might not be genuine.
Do you think when they had the meeting, your internal at the FBI, they had the meeting about what do we do about this request? And they're just say we lost it. What are they going to do?
I don't. Yeah. Well, I think it was like that, but it was probably much more panicked. Right. Oh God, we can't show them this. What are we going to do? We don't have anything to do here. And it's like, just say
Just
we don't
lie.
have it. Yeah.
Just lie.
Just keep telling them no. Nothing's going to happen, right? And nothing happens when law enforcement generally just does what they want. And this is another case. This seems like good news, and I guess it is, but there is a big catch here.
Judge rules blanket search of cell tower data unconstitutional. So you're probably reading that headline just as we did, and we're like, oh, that's great. That shouldn't be constitutional. We shouldn't allow that. But he kind of just lets it happen anyway.
For this case, this one last time, you know, that's so effective with your kids, right?
Yeah, just one treat. One more treat.
Right. Just one time, don't ask again. Right? Oh, I promise I won't, Mom. Yeah, so this has to do with they dump everything off of the tower within a time frame. That's the warrant. So obviously, if you drove past that tower,
or if you just live in the area,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you were caught up in this.
you're in that. It does. This is one of those cases where, unfortunately, it seems like the guy is super guilty.
Oh yeah, of course they
Yeah.
would use that one because
Right.
that's how they get their permissions pushed through.
But from now on, apparently, they're not allowed to do that, which has not stopped them in the past. And this man has had a rough couple of weeks, and people are looking into his communications, and they are finding more possible red flags.
Pete Hegseth reportedly spilled Yemen attack details in another Signal chat.
Well, this one wasn't the important people. I think this one was, and I don't think he was saying like really specific things here, which maybe even makes it worse because I think he was just like, hey, I just sent some F-16s. I'm so cool, right?
Well,
Guess
like
what
that
I'm
doesn't
doing.
make me feel better. Like you shouldn't be sharing that kind of stuff.
His wife is like, hey, honey, guess what? I'm killing indiscriminately. Your boy's just killing them all. Look what I'm doing. So that's embarrassing. And it's looking like a lot of people are expecting him to fall on this sword. He might have a short tenure.
Yeah, I don't know that he'll be around much. Maybe by the time you guys watch this, he may not be in position anymore.
And of course, this probably already exists. Let's be honest. And if the government doesn't have it, the advertising agencies certainly do. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be upset about it.
House Democrats, DOGE is building a master database of American sensitive information. The way I understood it is that, yes, it has all that information, but it's scattered through different agencies. So it's like not one master profile.
And they're looking to put this all together with a mega search, which is something a lot of people do. Like you always see the Elasticsearch headlines. And inevitably when they do that, it gets hacked. I mean,
Yeah.
every single time. Hey, let's unify all this.
Oh no, we've made it easier for everybody to steal everything.
What's interesting, though, is that absolutely nobody's saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't have this in the first place. Maybe we're not able to protect this. And yes, the trade war, I mean, at this point, it's just kind of like churning along. Nothing's really happening. The stock market just goes up and down.
Arbitrarily.
On headlines or whatever.
I keep getting emails from like the financial stuff that's like, hey, don't panic. Please don't kill yourself.
So you take it all with a grain of salt, right? But here's one of the latest.
White House considers slashing China tariffs to de-escalate trade war.
I saw another headline just right before we started that maybe China was easing up on some of the rare earth restrictions or something.
Yeah.
But then you see other headlines. It's like, no, we're not calling them. We haven't done anything. So.
Yeah, it'll be different by Monday. So.
But some things are definitely starting to take impact. You know, that supply chain, it's been a couple of weeks. That's all it has. So now we're finding out who is actually going to go bankrupt from all this.
U.S. sets tariffs of up to 3,521% on Southeast Asian solar panels.
Now, this is kind of a complex topic because, yeah, it will kind of destroy your industry in your country if you import these because they're so much cheaper. But at the same time, we have all these people screaming like, oh, we have to transition to other energy. But not that. Not those Southeast Asian solar panels.
Well, you know
Those are evil.
who else owns a solar panel company made in the U.S.?
Oh, does he still have that?
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get these kind of bargains from there. Also, another maybe layer of this is that a lot of these companies used to be in China, and then China got all the Like this
Right.
was way before the current
Right.
thing. And they were like, oh, we'll just go to this other country. So they're trying to.
Part of
stop
that is too just like China has a much larger middle class and they're not willing to accept those crazy wages anymore. So now they're like, we got to find someone poorer.
No, I think it was mostly to get around sanctions and all that kind of stuff.
It could be two things at once.
Oh, for sure. It's probably 500 things at once,
Yeah.
right? Like that's kind of where we're missing a lot of the.
There's probably nuance that we don't fully
Yeah.
appreciate, but
But I don't think that's happening here in this story. I don't think there's a ton of nuance
No.
here. What I can't fathom is who wants this. If you offered me this, I would just be like, I'm busy. Actually, that weekend.
can I exchange this for credit?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I don't
can't do
want
that.
this.
I'm sorry. You know what? Could you just box it up and I'll come and pick it up and I'll just take the food home. I'm sure the food's great, right?
Well, maybe. Trump meme coin surges 50% after top holders offer dinner with the president. Also, dress code, black tie optional. So, like, is it possible that someone would show up to that just like in blue jeans? Is it optional? Like, I don't.
Bolo tie.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So yeah, I guess the 25 top wallets get a tour and a VIP Trump meet session. The top 220 get the dinner. Only 20% of that coin is public. The other 80% is owned by Trump
Yeah.
and his folks.
Which made me think, like, is this just a publicity stunt? I don't understand. Like,
I think it's probably been 4 weeks at this point, right? At least 4 weeks where we've gotten a headline that just seems blatantly like Elon Musk
Yeah.
directly interfering in the government.
well, that's what made me think the solar panel one was probably for him as well, but maybe not.
I don't know if he still has that company though. does he?
I was pretty sure he does because I Googled it after and was like American-made solar panels, and his was the first one that came up.
Well, we know he doesn't like these people. He has publicly had very, very many conflicts with them.
U.S. agency to ease some safety rules for self-driving vehicles.
So it's not too incredible, at least the ones they mentioned in this article. It's stuff like a car has to have a steering wheel. A car has to have rear view mirrors, for example.
So someone could manually control it.
Robots don't need those things, but they're still required because robot cars don't really work, right? Like we've learned that. But they don't want it. They want to get rid of it. They want to make it easier and cheaper to roll these out. And New York and London actually both have these crazy laws where, like, if you just drive a vehicle there at certain times of the day, you have to pay an insane sum of money. And some people want to get rid of it, but they might not be as confident as their public face.
Trump team accidentally uploads memo dissing its own case against congestion pricing.
We got to get the quote because it was so good. Oh, here
Dead
we go.
air.
Can you read it?
Oh, no way. Not from back here.
Contrary to law, I can't read it either. Pretextual, procedurally arbitrary, and capricious, and violated
Capricious.
the due process. That was the document, the internal document they accidentally uploaded to the. You think it was accidental?
I mean, people do dumb things sometimes, myself included.
Yeah, but they also might really hate certain people who are in charge, and they might be looking to make things broken on.
Spicy.
Well,
Yeah.
you're going to destroy your career. Maybe not going to go that far. Do you remember this headline? Let me give you a little.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Now
actually,
all right. We can
look
read
at
it
that.
now when we fresh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, we got to get A1 in all the schools, right? But how are you going to do that? Because the schools
They don't serve steak.
they might not be looking for that. A lot of people are thinking, hey, this might be bad for the kids, right? Well, as usual, we will go through the process of checks and balances. We'll get this passed by lawmakers. And of course, I'm joking.
Draft executive order outlines plan to integrate AI into K through 12 schools. And the person who gets that contract will be the highest bidder.
The Ks can't read. How are they going to interact with an AI? I guess they'll have to use a voice model, huh?
Yeah. It's hallucinating randomly. It's hallucinating whole new letters. Trying to teach the
that'd be
kids to
wild,
read.
right?
Yeah.
We should experiment on some kids, just like their whole, like train them wrong, like see what happens.
Or ask the AI about, like, tell me what you know about the letter bzz.
Oh, right. This one is not going to be obvious. I don't know if you read it.
I read the abstract and stuff in here, but I didn't read the whole paper.
The thing to worry about here is we're always talking about power, right? But there is another resource.
Artificial intelligence, generative AI's environmental and human effects.
That being water.
Yeah.
Water is something that a lot of people haven't really been considering when they think about all these data center rollouts. This one, I think, was specifically in Texas they were looking, but they were like, yeah. The GAO, they found some problems with AI, but one of the biggest ones that a lot of people don't seem to be considering is the tax on the water, because they need so much. And as we'll learn in the business section tomorrow, these chips are not getting less hungry for power and water. They are growing at an insane pace.
We're going to have to get rid of some people so that way we have enough power and water for the machines.
It's an obvious equation,
Yeah.
right? You have to eliminate one side, not the other. And here's one we've seen so many times before, and another state is getting on board.
New Jersey sues RealPage, says collusion with landlords drives up rents, which I feel like it's pretty obvious at this point, but it hasn't gone through the courts yet.
Now, one thing that I don't think we talked about before, in this case, it pointed out that RealPages didn't just share pricing. They shared amenities, fees, extras.
You could do comps.
Right. So if it would compare all of that, and it required you to, I don't know if it required you, but a lot of people were happy to share that. It was like, oh, well, here's what I got over here, but we don't have a pool. And it would be like, oh, well, let's adjust for that.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're getting every penny that you can from those renters. I think they've lost this case in a couple other jurisdictions already, so probably a slam dunk. And AI lawyers, it took, like a week after we got LLMs for some lawyer to try it. And then more and more we've seen, hallucinated cases. Then we had the guy who
There's no actual sources for the things that they're talking about.
Yeah, one guy wasn't even a lawyer. He was just like, oh, I have trouble speaking. Let me have the AI speak for me. And it's always been met with a lot of derision and anger from the courts themselves. They really don't like it, which makes this hurt maybe a little bit more.
AI secretly helped write California bar exam, sparking uproar.
This shows my ignorance in, law and getting practicing law. I didn't realize there was no standard. Every state has a different bar.
Yeah, that's why they say, like, when you look at like a lawyer's website, it'll say like licensed to practice in.
So in California, which apparently is hilariously bad or easy, I guess we'd say, first year questions, the questions that they got from like a first year curriculum of law school was half the test, and the other half made with AI.
How pissed are you if you're trying to do your bar exam and it's like, it's just hallucinating things and it's like, I don't know how to answer these questions. How long before we have that for like cars, where it's like you're doing your driver's test and it's like, what do you do if you're in a swirly road? And it's like, what's a swirly road? And there is no answer because it's just AI generated slop.
Also, if you have a car with all the driving aids and you take your test in that, is that fair?
I would say no.
Because you're supposed to be equipped to drive any car, right?
Yeah.
The other problem they have here is that this is an online course. Actually, it's a combination of online and in-person, or computer and in-person. I don't know. But this company that does the test has constant failures. Some people can't actually get through it. They just get errors. So they're going to meet on May 5th and discuss remedies.
We're really outraged about it, but we're going to wait like a week and a half to get it fixed.
Well,
Not even actually get it fixed, I guess, just to discuss a solution.
They don't do anything quickly or cheaply. They're probably going to bill somebody for that. Moving over to Europe, we have obvious, Europe just cashes checks on the big tech companies from time to time. They know they can because they know they're guilty.
Apple Meta fined as EU presses ahead with tech probes. I feel like every time I see a headline when we're reading the stories and it's like, so-and-so fined, I kind of skim it, just to be honest. Like,
it's the same thing. This is the Digital Markets Act. We know that they're in violation of it. We know that they're going to continue to be in violation of it. We know that they make more money violating it than they pay in fines.
So they just keep paying the fine.
It's essentially a tax to screw the Europeans. That's what it is. They're going to keep doing it. But They have also argued in the past, of course, that, hey, we are not European, right? I live in America. What are you going to do about it? And the EU says they don't care.
EU says it will enforce digital rules irrespective of CEO and location.
Sometimes that works as long as they're still wanting to do business in your country. The minute they stop wanting to do business in your country, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you've lost your leverage.
You have to, I guess, keep them just low enough, right? Keep a nice simmer on those fines. And the UK has finally done it. They have done the horrible Online Safety Act. And it's as bad as everybody ever expected. And yes, you will have to confirm your identity for everything.
Ofcom?
Ofcom.
Ofcom announces new rules for tech firms to keep children safe online.
Which is, you have to prove that you're not a kid, basically, for everything. And
I'm 18.
Highly effective age checks, but not just that. You have to police your own content. You got a certain amount of time to get rid of it. And yeah, it's terrible. You can't have toxic experiences. Who decides what a toxic experience is?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I had a lot of really terrible toxic experiences in Overwatch, but I also had a lot of fun playing Overwatch, so.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not in the UK.
Well, I mean, I don't play Overwatch anymore, RIP, but.
And this one we kind of already knew about, but I guess officially they're making the accusation. Now, this is the app, not the model itself.
South Korea says DeepSeek transferred user data to China and the U.S. without consent.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I was like, is this a surprise to anybody?
Yeah,
like,
so does Facebook and TikTok and everybody else. Yeah, they do that. But we shouldn't tolerate it. I mean, that's good that they're getting rid of it. And we have the big Zuckerberg trial going on, and we have people testifying and saying a lot of interesting things. This fella was an Instagram co-founder, and if you recall, when Meta bought Instagram, they were like, "Oh no, this is not going to be a Meta product. We're going to be hands off."
Yeah, they'll have all their own leadership, blah blah.
Facebook, log in with Facebook. Are you crazy? We're not going to do that. And then, of course, they did it all. But it might have been worse than that.
At trial, Instagram co-founder says Meta denied his company resources.
So after they bought them, he felt there was an attempt to stifle them because Zuckerberg knew that was a better product than Facebook. And he was worried about it.
Everyone always told me I should get an Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, you could put your art and stuff on it." And I'm just glad I never bothered.
Yeah, you can give your art to Zuckerberg. He'll own whatever you upload.
It's like people are like, "Oh, you should get on Bluesky," and I'm like, I don't want to be on any of it anymore.
It's all terrible.
Yeah.
You can change the name. You can repaint it as much as you want.
Yeah, have a different CEO. Eventually, it gets sold, and it goes to shit.
And the people are terrible.
Well, that's true of anywhere.
And not the Team PGP Twitch.
No.
It's nothing but it's just perfect
upstanding
people in there.
citizens.
Yeah. And AI, of course, everybody has their own brand and they want you to use it. It's the big AI race. How do you get it in front of more people? Well, Google has a nasty way of doing it. We'll talk about again tomorrow. But Meta also has decided that user choice is really getting in the way.
Anger as Meta AI chatbot added to WhatsApp, raising privacy fears.
Now, Meta is quick to say, no. Yeah, there's a big giant button there.
And it's at the top of the screen, and you can't ignore it.
You can't get rid of the button, but as long as you don't press it and the other person also doesn't press it, it won't be reading your chats. That also might be a lie.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second, because there's probably something in their privacy policy that's like, no, we can totally use whatever we do.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you. Let's say you and I are on WhatsApp, right? Let's say I don't press it and you don't press it, but the FBI agent who's monitoring us does press it. What happens then?
Either way, no privacy.
And Bluesky, as you mentioned, is, it's supposed to be this, it's different, right? It's not the same as those evil places. Come here, everything is good, which is weird because they're going to make it exactly like the other place used to be.
Angry, disappointed users react to Bluesky's upcoming blue checkmark verification system. Now, theirs is going to be like how Twitter's used to be, where it was like people who were notable.
But worse, because there's 3 possibilities. You can be the butterfly, which means you work for Bluesky. You're like super admin. There's the circle check mark, which is you're just, like someone of note. But then there's the gear cog check mark,
Blob.
which means that you are a gatekeeper to decide who gets the circle. You
Oh.
can grant others the circle. And apparently the New York Times is going to get one. That's everything I ever need to see to never use Bluesky. And oh boy, are the IRL streamers starting to explode. Are you following this?
I don't
thing?
follow any of them, but I did hear about this before it even popped up when we were looking at news stories for the week.
You can watch so many compilations of these guys. And I don't understand. People are so passive. The people of the Philippines really will tolerate a lot. I don't know, maybe because of the tourism dollars. It's like,
I
hey,
mean, I think generally people are, try to be nice, like when you see something strange happening, but like there reaches a point where it's like, okay, we can't tolerate this anymore.
yeah, but I feel like my point is way lower than the people in these videos.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not in the situation. Maybe I'd react differently. But anyway, it's good to see them actually held accountable.
U.S. YouTuber remains in custody in India after visiting restricted island with a Diet Coke can. He had something else with him too. I immediately forgot what it was. Diet Coke and
Coconut.
coconut. Well, the coconut's probably native to that region, but the Diet Coke definitely isn't.
So this was actually way dumber than the headline would have you to believe, because there's an uncontacted tribe on this island.
They killed
And
someone in like 2018, if you
They've
remember
killed
that story.
everybody.
Yeah, like they're
Everybody that's come
hostile
there.
to the outside world.
There were some fishermen who just I think they were in a storm and they
Yeah.
were lost. They blew up on it. Killed them immediately. This guy was trying to contact them. This is off of India, so he will face the Indian government for his crimes here.
Do you think? I guess you have a chance of living with the Indian government, but if you land on the island and they kill you, you're dead.
Which would have wrapped this up maybe a little bit nicer, right? And speaking of India, they are having a little bit of a crisis. There was another terrorist attack, or what people are describing as a terrorist attack. And their BFFs, or maybe frenemies, I guess we would call them, Pakistan, things are getting a little bit hot.
Posts will be blocked even if you ... Reddit users complain after moderators ban them for posting about I don't know how to pronounce Pahalgam attack.
So this was like, I guess, our India. And anybody who even discussed it, which, I mean, that would be a big thing to discuss,
Yeah, like
right?
maybe you have a mega thread if you're worried about having too many threads, but there would be a place to discuss it usually.
And it wasn't necessarily that they were on one side or the other. Just like, sometimes it's just like, hey, what's going on here? Let's talk about this. And it would always get blocked. Some people have now, it's our India, our Delhi, and our Kashmir. They're claiming that these are all Pakistani-run subreddits. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think Reddit is just like desperate to avoid any kind of controversy.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you can't do it. They've created their own subreddit, and I can't remember where that is. But you can read this article, and if you're looking to chat about the terror attacks.
Wow, that was crazy. Yeah, it was.
I don't know too much about it. I haven't really been following that
I
story.
haven't either. I didn't know anything about it until I read this.
I did see that there might have been more gunfire exchanged yesterday or today. Yeah.
Not good.
Seems like the whole globe is heating up.
In every way imaginable.
That's not what we need.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Bye!